So let's get into the big story that happened on Friday.
Okay.
Bucky McMillan named the head coach. Billy, first on that as always.
As always.
And I got a text from a dear friend of mine. He's probably listening right now. And he asked me like, hey, what's your real opinion on Bucky? Not like what you'll say on TexAgs. Okay. And I know he meant it with a lot of respect. The opinion is the same.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm super intrigued by it.
Okay.
Super intrigued by the hire. Did I, in my mind, want Chris Beard from a basket?
I did.
I said from the very beginning, I needed to know more what happened that night in Austin. Okay? That's what I said. But from a basketball perspective, did I want him? Yeah, I did. Okay. When that didn't happen, and everybody wants to be, never gets the coach they want, although we can go through many times that they have. But then I started looking at these candidates that are out there. And I understand why some people were against hiring a guy at such a small school that hadn't really done much other than in that world, right?
Okay.
The more I read about him, the more I listen to podcasts about him. The Mean Street pod guys will be here. They did one on him right as he got hired. We'll have them on the show in a little bit. But the more I'm intrigued by what it could be.
Yes. Yes.
Okay? I'm intrigued by scoring 85 points a game.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued by full court press.
Preach.
All game on a make, full court press.
Yeah.
On a miss, full court press.
Yeah, I'm loving it.
Okay? I'm intrigued by a young guy that wants to go around campus, high five, invite media to the office to chit chat. Like these are all the things I've read. I understand when you're at a smaller school, it's a little bit different. Cool.
Doesn't have to be.
I'm intrigued by a guy that knew that a SEC caliber job was going to be coming his way, if not this year, next year, almost last year. Okay? I'm intrigued by a guy that everybody in the state of Alabama thinks is the next coming. I'm intrigued by a guy that people who have played for him on multiple occasions, in high school and college, we'll have this guy on the show in a little bit, think he is very Saban-like, very process-driven, will make that team practice for 3 hours and work on one part until they get it right. I'm intrigued by all of it. Are there questions? Yes. Do I have to have a definitive take today? Oh, I think this is a great hire. I think it's a terrible hire. None of us know. You don't know. It sounds good. Let's see. Let's go.
I'll tell you, David, I'm going to be honest. Because we are honest on here. People like your friend doesn't think we're honest. No, we're
I think he thinks we're honest, but he thought I would clean it up.
I got to tell you something. Over the last 5 years, I have seen Samford basketball play a full game, exactly 0. I saw some of the Kansas game in the NCAA tournament, and they almost won.
They almost won that one,
So, of course, I'm going to tune in to watch some of that.
Yep.
That said, I couldn't even told you who the coach it was at Samford, right?
It was Bucky McMillan.
Yeah, it was. And then I start looking at just the nuts and bolts is that the way they play, the way they score, and the way they put an emphasis on offense. That to me is exciting. To me, the difference it appears when I look at the stats and the numbers, because they were like number 3 or number 4 in the country in scoring in like 2023. Mm-hmm. Lost almost their entire team. Came back this last season and was 13th in the scoring. Yeah. I mean, his team score. To me, it's like the difference from what we've seen, like between we're going to like fishnet stockings from support hose. You know, one is kind of hot and sexy and gets your imagination going. The other, it's kind of dull and gets a job done to a certain degree.
Like support the varicose vein.
Yeah, you know.
How long you been wearing them?
Yeah, about a couple of years now. So anyway, I'm not predicting great things because I don't know, but I am, like you said, intrigued. I'm excited about the possibility of bringing in a coach that's going to put more time in his offense and put more time in recruiting than he does in picking out his wardrobe.
Or his book.
Or other thing.
But some of that stuff, not the wardrobe part, I don't care about that. I don't want to compliment Buzz but there's a lot of things I liked about his system. So this is not, because if I played college basketball, which I am nowhere near being, I was never good at all. I was terrible. But I would have played that brand of basketball. There's an intriguing part of it, but it ran its course. And this guy, I think, is going to bring something. Everybody compares his offense to Nate Oates, okay? Yeah. Nate Oates has this awesome brand of offensive basketball that, by the way, these two, Bucky and Nate, spoke about as Nate was taking the job at Alabama.
Well, look, I just liked it. I liked the fact that Buzz Williams' teams played hard.
Yep.
I liked that. I liked the fact that they played for their coach.
Yep.
Of course, now I've got the feeling that a lot of guys were playing for the coach and not for Texas A&M, but that's another story. So I admire that they liked their coach and they played hard for him. And I like that they had a reputation for playing really strong defense.
Yep.
Did they really? Look into the numbers, and that's up for debate. But I can't deny for 5-6 years we talked about why is a team such a poor shooting team? Everybody can have a bad year shooting the ball.
Yep.
I mean, that happens. But
every year?
Every year that you can't shoot from the free throw line or the three-point line.
Which is why looking ahead, not to look back, looking ahead, I'm intrigued.
Right, absolutely. That's what I'm excited about.
Does this have some question marks? Absolutely.
Everyone does.
Right? So those who say you guys are coping, you guys are, deflecting, or whatever you think we're doing. I'm just having a real conversation with my real opinions, and did I want a huge name to take over? Yes. When that didn't work out, what are the options available? We're about to hear him talk later on this afternoon. All right? I may come away from that blown away, and I'll tell you, God, he was awesome. Or I may be like, it is an evolving opinion that I hope we all have, right? Because as we've seen, the marquee name, Jimbo, for instance, there was a real nice ramp up and then a huge fall. Schloss, huge name, got you on the doorstep, left you, didn't care for you, he left, okay? Buzz, 6 years, he did everything he could to make that brand of basketball work. It got you to the second weekend twice, got you to the
No, it never got you to the second.
Sorry, second game twice. Second round twice, and got you into the NCAA tournament 3 straight times, but left you in a worse position than you were when he took over.
As far as the coach taking over, maybe the worst situation ever. Is there a team?
No, there isn't a team. So, which is why I go back. Are there questions? Yes. I don't know how good he's going to be in the transfer portal. He'll get a couple guys from Stanford to come over, I'm sure. How does that match up in the SEC? Is that a depth thing? Can these guys play? I don't know enough about that. But I can be intrigued and also concerned. And by the way, if I remember correctly, I think I saw a soundbite on this just a couple days ago. Coach Cal, different reputation, different history, obviously a Hall of Fame, legendary national championship coach. When he took over at Arkansas, he had no team. He has more cachet to bring in certain guys. He's always brought in 5 stars. I'm not comparing Coach Cal to Coach Bucky. What I'm saying is this has happened before.
Yeah, at other places. Look, here's what, all the things you said are right. And I'm not, like you said, I'm not trying to spin or anything. I'm telling you, I'm excited about a coach who has a background of a successful offense.
Yep.
Okay, that's why I'm excited about the guy. I've watched trudging basketball for 6 years. I want to see, some racehorses out there.
I do too.
Okay.
I like racehorses.
Yeah. So
they're fast.
Yeah, they're fast.
That's all.
Yeah. So that's what I'm excited about. Now, there's going to be this faction that if the Aggies don't go to the NCAA tournament next year, they're going to say, oh, yeah, see what a terrible hire. Like, this guy's taking over no team.
Well, and also different situations. And we'll get into baseball in the next segment because we are going to talk about a good weekend in baseball.
Yeah, we are.
But when Coach Early took over, I believe the expectations were, it's a fact. Expectations were so high because you were bringing back a huge nucleus of players. Unproven coach, for sure. There were question marks, but you're like, look at this roster. We should be great. Okay? They haven't been great. Great weekend. Great Saturday. Great Saturday. Great Saturday, right? But not a great Friday and not great this season. But there were reasons for optimism. Right now, I don't have any optimism for next year because I don't have a roster to think about.
Yeah, I don't even know who I'm going to root for. Who's going to play for A&M next year?
Now, when we get to know Coach later on today, when we start and by the way, nice job to his coaching staff, a couple former A&M assistant coaches.
I'm a real fan of Mitch Cole and Kyle Keller, and I'm hoping that he'll make the move to bring Darby Rich back as the strength and conditioning coach.
That'd be good.
Darby, who never wanted to leave A&M, by the way.
He's down the road, right? Where was he?
Oh, well, I think he's right now between jobs.
Okay, he was at Memphis, I think.
He was at Memphis, and then he went to Texas Tech with Beard.
Yeah.
Beard hired him at Texas Tech, and then he stayed at Texas Tech, and then he came to Texas with Beard, then Terry kept him, and now there's a coaching change.
So I'm intrigued. We'll see. I like it. We'll see. Let's see what kind of roster he puts together.
And let's get some guys from the state of Texas, like good players in Texas, to actually play here.
Yeah, that'd be nice. So look, I can understand other fan bases laughing at it. Okay, sure, whatever. Yeah. I can understand Aggies being like, dude, we're getting a guy from Samford? Like who? Okay, I understand all those questions. I also ask you to look into his reputation, look at his resume, and let's see if you have a different opinion once you've.
How many times did you feel like over the last couple of years that A&M would get into a situation where all of a sudden everything would stop and it would just be somebody with the basketball one-on-one?
Often.
I don't think you score 83 or 86 points a game, average that by complete ISO and all the time.
I don't care if you ISO ball, you Charles Barkley it in the paint. If you win
have
games.
That guy.
Yeah, if you have that guy and you win games. I don't care. So I hope that this team, obviously we all hope, and hope's going to be a comment on the other side.